Before we start, just a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. Only 2% are subscribed. At 1,000 subscribers, I'll be posting a special video. He pulls his hand out of mine mid-contraction. For a second, I think he is just adjusting his grip. Then he wipes his palms on his jeans and steps back. I am Hannah, 28 now, and I still feel that step. Another wave hits and I crush the bed rail instead of his fingers. He checks the monitor like he understands any of it at all. His other hand is already on his phone, screen lighting his face. I tell myself he is nervous, not disappearing in slow motion. The nurse rolls me toward the delivery room with quick practiced pushes. She asks how far apart the contractions are, and I lose the count. He shrugs instead of answering and avoids both of our eyes. I swear he almost turns around right there in the hallway. "Can you fill these out for her?" The nurse hands him a clipboard. He stares at the lines for father and emergency contact. Too long. My body tightens again and I hiss his name through clenched teeth. He mumbles something about fresh air and slips toward the waiting area. I expect to hear his voice when the next contraction slams through me. Nothing, just the nurse telling me to breathe slow and keep focus. I ask if he came back and she glances toward the open doorway. "That your partner in the gray jacket?" she asks, and my stomach flips. She sends another nurse to look for him while I try not to scream. I picture him at the vending machine counting crumpled bills with shaking hands. That image gets me through one more push and two more curses. The second nurse returns alone and just shakes her head once. "Babies come whether dads are ready or not," the first nurse mutters. It sounds like something she has said 100 times this month. I laugh in this weird broken way and it turns into a sob. In the back of my mind, something heavy starts to crack open. Another doctor appears and asks where the father went so suddenly. "He stepped out," I say, and even I hear the lie. They nod like they have seen this exact script play out before. No one says the word abandoned, not yet, but it hangs there. The pain builds and folds me in half over the side rail. Someone counts to 10 and I push like my life depends on it. Nobody is holding my hand now, and it hits harder than the contraction. Right then I understand he might miss our daughter's first breath. A monitor alarm chirps and everyone moves faster around the bed. They tell me the baby is close and I need one last push. I look at the doorway and imagine him walking back through it. Instead I see only my own reflection in the dark glass panel. She finally arrives with one long, ugly cry that fills the room. The doctor lifts her up and says something about healthy and strong. I scan every face around the bed, hoping for his stupid jacket. He is not there to hear the first sound she ever makes. They place her on my chest, and the world narrows to skin. She is slippery and furious, and somehow heavier than anything I have carried. I whisper that I am here and that I am not leaving. The promise feels reckless on my tongue and also completely automatic. Later a nurse brings in more forms and a cheap plastic bracelet. She points to the blank line for father and taps her pen twice. For a full minute I hover there unsure which version of him to write. I finally leave the space empty, and that emptiness echoes louder than his name. The baby screams and my phone vibrates on the blanket. Unknown number first, then his name right under it like a tease. The unknown call cuts off before voicemail and his goes straight there. I switch the baby to my shoulder and hit redial with shaking thumb. "Hey, it's me again, she's here, you missed it," my voice comes out thin. I bounce her in this clumsy rhythm and stare at the wall clock. "I'm still at the hospital, can you at least call back tonight?" I hang up before I start begging because I know that tone already. A nurse walks in with discharge papers and a strained, tired smile. "So do you have someone picking you up today?" Her gaze slides around. I tighten my grip on the baby and pretend that everything is handled. "Yeah, he's just running late." The lie tastes familiar and cheap on my tongue. She glances at the empty visitor chair, then at my phone still lit. "You'll need a car seat before they let you leave with her." I nod like that was absolutely the next thing on my list. Inside, I am trying not to picture him driving away in silence. By afternoon, another nurse sets the baby in a rolling bassinet. "Transport is on the way to the main entrance for you." I walk behind the bassinet in socks that slide on the floor. Every step feels like I am dragging my whole life by one thread. At the front doors, I pull up a rideshare app with sweaty hands. The driver arrives, looks around, then focuses on the empty passenger side. No one else riding with you, his eyebrows lift before he can stop himself. Just us, I answer as I struggle with the straps around her tiny body. The driver watches me fight the seat buckles and finally leans over. Here, pull this part first, then click that one down. He doesn't ask where the dad is, which somehow stings even more. Like the answer is obvious, like he has seen this scene 100 times. On the way home, my phone buzzes with another notification from his line. Voicemail icon again, no missed call, nothing real from him at all. I put the speaker to my ear while the car merges into traffic. Mailbox is full, the robotic voice tells me, and I almost laugh. We reach my building and the driver helps me lift the carrier out. The elevator is broken, so I take the stairs one careful step. My stitches pull with every climb and the baby starts wailing again. I whisper that we are almost inside, even though I am not sure. Inside, I drop my bag near the door and place her on the couch. My phone lights up on the armrest with a social media alert. Someone tagged him in a photo at a crowded bar last night. He has his arm around a girl and a drink raised toward the camera. I zoom in like a detective who hates every clue she finds. His face looks relaxed, eyes half closed, mouth stretched in a lazy grin. He is wearing the same shirt he wore to the hospital that morning. So he left me there and went straight out, like clocking off a shift. My thumb hovers over the message icon while the baby starts fussing again. I prop the phone between my shoulder and ear and call his number. It jumps to voicemail again, as if we are stuck in a loop. Your daughter is home, I say, and you are missing every second already. I send him a photo, her eyes squeezed shut, mouth curled in protest. Under the picture I type, "This is what you walked away from." I erase that line, replace it with something softer that I hate. Meet her when you can, I write, which is not what I mean. Night drops fast and I realize I never ate anything all day. The baby cries, then pauses, then cries louder until my arms ache. I shuffle around the small room mixing formula with clumsy shaking hands. Every sound feels sharper in the quiet, like the walls are listening. Around midnight, I sit on the floor with my back against the bed. Her eyes are finally closed, her breath short and uneven against my chest. The glow from my phone lights up a cluster of payment notifications. Rent reminder, hospital estimate, overdue notice from a card I almost forgot. I open his profile again and scroll through old pictures like a stalker. Family barbecue, camping trip, birthday dinner with candles and sparkler sticks. He looks present in every shot, hand on someone's shoulder, always centered. It hits me that the only place he went missing was here with us. I hover over the option to block him and drop my hand. Blocking feels like ending something he already ended without my consent. Leaving it open feels like holding a door in an empty hallway. I tap out a final message instead, just 3 words, then delete them. The baby stirs and lets out a thin warning noise, then quiets. I lean my head back and tell myself tomorrow he will call. Not because I believe it, but because hope keeps my spine upright. I do not know yet that the silence will last long enough to harden. My fork hovers over cold fries when my phone lights up again. Unknown number, different area code. My chest tightens before I even swipe. Hello, my voice comes out rough from too much coffee and no sleep. Is this the mother of his baby? A woman's voice, careful, older, already judging. I straighten in the booth and glance at the stroller beside me. Who's asking? I keep my tone flat, but my fingers grip the phone hard. I'm his mom. She pauses long enough for the words to land. I just heard I have a grandchild and I would like to see her. For a second I think it is some kind of prank. He has had weeks to pick up and this is who calls. How exactly did you hear that? I rest my elbow on the table. He mentioned it during dinner, her breath catches. He said things were complicated, that you were upset. Complicated, that word almost makes me laugh right there in the booth. He left while I was in labor. I keep my tone low and steady. Utter silence from the other side, then a faint clink like a cup set down. That's not what we were told. Her voice drops tight like I just ruined a story. I rock the stroller with my foot while the baby fusses. Look, I'm not arguing about versions of that night over the phone. If you want to know your granddaughter, we can talk somewhere public. The word public slips out because I do not trust any of them yet. She jumps on that. Yes, please, we'll drive up this weekend if that works. My stomach knots around that tiny word. I work afternoons, I say, even though my hours are a wreck. Morning at a diner near my place is better, somewhere busy. We settle on a chain diner off the main road near my apartment. She confirms the time twice, then K's the baby's name like she is entitled. I give it anyway because hiding it will not make me feel safer. She sounds beautiful, she whispers, like that makes up for anything at all. 2 days later, I push the stroller through the diner doors right on time. The smell of fried food and burnt coffee hits my empty stomach hard. An older woman waves from a corner booth, a younger guy beside her. They stand when they see me, faces too eager for this kind of meeting. She comes around the table with her arms open like we are old friends. You must be her. She stops herself from touching my arm when she sees my face. The younger guy hangs back, hands in his pockets, eyes flicking to the stroller. I'm Mark, he says, giving a short nod as if this is some business deal. I park the stroller close enough that I can reach the handle fast. His mother bends over and peers inside with a sharp, focused gaze. Oh, she breathes, she looks like him around the mouth. I swallow hard and pretend that observation did not feel like a slap. We sit, menus stay closed, no one mentions food yet. So, I fold my hands on the table, fingers still stained from formula. What exactly did he tell you? I ask it straight so there is no confusion. She trades a quick look with Mark, and that glance tells me plenty. He said you two fought that day, she starts, smoothing a napkin flat. He said you threw him out and told him not to return. My lungs actually forget their job for a second when I hear that. That is not how it happened, I say, every word sharp enough to cut. I describe only what I have to, him stepping away in the hallway. Him never walking back through the delivery room doors, not once. I keep it clipped, no extra detail because the truth is loud enough. By the time I finish, her eyes shine but her jaw is still clenched. Mark leans forward, elbows on the table, watching me like he wants proof. He said you didn't want our side involved, he adds, voice low. He told us you blocked him and refused to answer messages. I flip my phone screen up and scroll to our one-sided thread. The bubble list is all me, date after date, no responses under his name. I set the phone between us and tap the screen once to wake it. He could have answered any of those, I say, trying not to shake. His mother stares at the messages like they are something toxic. She exhales slowly and covers her mouth with one hand. I knew he was hiding something, she mutters into her fingers. Then she drops her hand and reaches for her purse like she planned this. We brought a few things, just small things, nothing dramatic, she insists. She pulls out a folded baby blanket with a stitched last name. Their last name, not mine, in big proud letters across the fabric. Something hot rushes into my throat when I see it spelled that way. I run my thumb along the edge instead of across the letters themselves. We thought maybe you hadn't decided on that yet, she continues carefully. It would mean a lot to him if she carried the family name. She does not say my name once during this entire suggestion. I lay the blanket over the back of the booth instead of the baby. I already filled out the paperwork, I say, keeping my voice calm. That part isn't up for discussion anymore. Her face tightens for a split second before she pastes on a smile. I understand, she says, but the air between us shifts a little colder. A server appears and pours coffee into our cups without asking. His mother orders something quick, like this is any regular Sunday breakfast. I ask for water and wrap my hands around the mug just for something solid. The baby kicks in the stroller and lets out a warning whimper. Can I hold her? His mother's hands hover over the stroller handle. I hesitate long enough that it gets awkward, then unbuckle the straps. I place the baby in her arms and watch every move like a hawk. She sways gently, whispering a stream of words I cannot fully hear. Mark pulls out his phone and snaps a photo without requesting permission. Another, then another, tilting it to get the best angle of the baby's face. Relax, he says when he sees my expression, we're just sending them to him. He thumbs across the screen, and I watch his concentration like he is defusing a bomb. My stomach flips when I notice his messaging app open with active bubbles. He's at work right now, Mark explains, looking up at me. He wanted updates. So he has time for live photos but not one call to my number. I sip my water so I do not say something that ends this meeting instantly. His mother passes the baby back and finally focuses on me. I need you to know he isn't a monster, she says slowly. He made a terrible mistake, but he cares, even if it doesn't look like it. The words brush up against every raw place inside me and leave them burning. If he cares, he can show up and speak for himself, I answer. I'm not doing his damage, see. Entrell for him on top of everything else. She flinches like I struck her, then steadies her expression again. You're angry, she says, and I get it, but she deserves her father. That sentence lands heavier than anything else so far. The baby squirms in my arms and grips my shirt with strong, tiny fingers. She deserves reliability, I counter, feeling my pulse climb higher. Right now all she has is me, and I'm not risking that for his comfort. Mark shifts in his seat, restless, like he wants to argue but holds back. Look, we want to be there, he finally says, tapping the table. Birthdays, holidays, whatever, we're not asking for much. Not yet, I think, because every word in his tone says yet. His mother leans across the table and lowers her voice. I'm begging you not to shut us out, she says, we can help. How, I ask, and my voice comes out more tired than sharp. With money, with time, with visits at our place, she lists quickly. That last part sets off every alarm I have been ignoring. I'm not sending her anywhere without me, I say, then adjust my grip. Not now, maybe not for a very long time. She nods like she agrees, but her eyes are already somewhere else. We exchange phone numbers before we stand to leave the booth. His mother gives the baby one last lingering look that feels like a claim. We're family too, she reminds me at the door, fingers brushing my arm. Whether you and he work things out or not, she is ours as well. On the way back to my place, the baby sleeps hard in the stroller. My head replays the blanket, the photos, the word ours on a loop. I wanted relatives for her, people who might actually show up. Instead, I walked out of that diner feeling like I had signed something invisible. That night I fold the embroidered blanket and shove it deep in a drawer. I tell myself I'm overreacting, that I'm just exhausted and defensive. But the knot in my gut will not loosen, no matter how I argue with it. Later I will look back at that morning and realize it was their opening move, not a simple visit. He jams his foot in the doorway before I can slam it. My kid peeks around my hip with a dinosaur in her fist. Hi, he says, like we just bumped into each other at a store. For a second my brain blanks out and I grip the door harder. His face is different, older around the eyes, but the voice hits instantly. My first impulse is to shove the door and crush his toes. My second is to drag my daughter behind me and call someone. Instead I just stand there frozen while my heart beats way too loud. Can we talk for a minute? He gestures toward the hallway, not inside. That tiny move tells me he knows he lost the right to step in. My daughter leans around my leg and studies him with open curiosity. Who is that? She whispers, loud enough for him to hear every syllable. He looks at her like he has stumbled onto a live grenade. I'm an old friend of your mom, he blurts, eyes flicking to mine. I raise my eyebrows so high it almost hurts my forehead. Go finish your drawing, I tell her, I'll be right here. She hesitates for a beat, then runs back toward the living room. Her feet slap the floor in that chaotic 4-year-old rhythm. I keep the door half shut so he only sees a slice of our place. 5 minutes, I say, lifting my chin. You already wasted 4 years. He swallows, stares at the floor, then forces himself to meet my eyes. I know I screwed up, he starts, hands jammed into his jacket pockets. I've been in therapy, I've been working on myself, I'm trying to fix things. The words sound practiced, like something he rehearsed in a mirror. I don't care about your self-improvement speech, I cut in fast. I care about the kid in there and what you want from her. He flinches but keeps going, which honestly surprises me for a moment. I want to know her, I want her to know I exist. The hallway feels narrow, like the walls are listening to us argue. You existed when I was pushing her into the world, I remind him. You existed when I called and got nothing. His jaw tightens and I can see he wants to argue versions again. I panicked back then, he says, voice rougher now. I was a mess, I ran, I know that looks unforgivable. He runs a hand over his face like he can wipe off the memory. I'm engaged now, I'm stable, I'm ready to step up. That last part lands wrong, like he is selling a product. What does your engagement have to do with my kid? I ask. He hesitates just long enough to tell me everything without words. She wants to meet her, he answers finally, we both do. Something sharp snaps into place inside my chest at that. So you vanish, then show up with a +1 attached. I lean against the door, blocking more of the opening with my body. You are not bringing some stranger into this just because you're bored. She isn't a stranger to me, he fires back a little too quick. She knows out everything, she's been the one pushing me to come. He softens his voice, trying another angle. She works with kids, she's great. He throws that detail out like a bonus feature on some family package. My daughter starts humming from the other room, a little off-key. The sound keeps me grounded while my temper spikes and dips. What exactly are you asking for right now? I say, no sugar at all. Because if this is about easing your guilt, we're done here. He blows out a breath, fogging the air between us for a second. Can we start with something small, he suggests, reaching for neutral ground. Like a park visit, you there the whole time, no pressure. I notice he never once asks what she likes, only where he can be seen. Part of me wants to slam the door and lock every bolt. Another part remembers my daughter's face when kids mention their dads. I hate that second part, but it still exists, stubborn and loud. I will think about one short meeting, I say, spacing each word deliberately. He nods too fast, like he expected a flat rejection instead. I'm off Sunday, he adds quickly, nervous I might retract the offer. There's a playground a couple blocks away, we could meet there. He glances over my shoulder, trying to catch another glimpse of her world. We'll meet on the benches by the swings, I reply. Morning, lots of people around, you come alone, no surprises. His eyes flicker and that tiny flicker sets every alarm off again. About that, he starts shifting his weight, she was hoping to come too. Of course she was, of course this is a joint performance. She already bought a little gift, he continues, watching my reaction carefully. She's really excited to meet both of you, she cares a lot. I cross my arms and let the silence stretch long enough to hurt. Sunday, I say finally, she can come, but if I feel off, we leave. His shoulders drop like he just won something huge and fragile. Thank you, he says, voice quiet now, almost normal. I close the door before I can answer and lean against it until my legs steady. From the living room, my daughter yells that her dinosaur lost a leg. I walk in and sink to the floor beside her piles of toys. Who was at the door, she asks, squinting at me while she reattaches the leg. A man who knew me a long time ago, I say, feeling the hedging immediately. Is he nice, she asks, like that is the only category that matters. I picture him in the hospital hallway at some bar on my doorstep now. I'm still figuring that out, I answer, which is the closest I can get. She nods once, satisfied for the moment, and returns to her game. Sunday hits faster than I expect and my nerves buzz from dawn. My daughter bounces around the apartment asking about the playground nonstop. I pack snacks and wipes with mechanical focus, anything to keep busy. Every zipper, every folded napkin feels like stalling and surrender at the same time. At the playground, he is already there on a bench by the fence. A woman stands next to him, pretty and polished, clutching a shopping bag. They both straighten when they spot us walking up the sidewalk. My kid charges ahead with zero hesitation, because of course she does. He kneels to her level like he watched a tutorial on how to greet children. Hey, he says softly, you must be the famous dinosaur expert. She studies him with that blunt 4-year-old focus, then glances back at me. I nod once, staying close, every muscle ready to scoop her away if needed. The woman steps forward, smile wide but a little too tight at the edges. I'm Lauren, she says, holding the bag like a peace offering. I've heard so much about you, and I brought something small. My daughter's eyes flick toward the bag, then back to my face for permission. You can look, I tell her, but you don't have to keep it. She digs inside and pulls out a bright dinosaur puzzle, gasping in delight. Dinosaurs, she whispers, instantly hooked, attention shifting away from everything else. I watch Lauren clock that reaction and store it like useful data. We move to a bench while my daughter races toward the slide. He keeps his eyes on her like he is trying to memorize every move. Lauren leans closer to me, lowering her voice to something conspiratorial. She's incredible, she says, you've done so much on your own. Compliment with a hook buried inside, that is how it lands. Yeah, I reply, keeping my tone neutral, we've managed. My daughter yells for me to watch and lets herself spin down the slide. He laughs under his breath, then stops like he isn't sure he is allowed. So, I say, cutting through the small talk before it spreads. What are you two actually hoping for here? Lauren looks at him, then answers before he can open his mouth. Consistency, she says, something predictable for all three of you. 3, not 4, my brain notices that little subtraction immediately. We can show up regularly. She continues, hands folded on her lap. Maybe take her to the zoo sometimes or pick her up for ice cream. She glances at him, with your approval obviously. My daughter bolts back to us and climbs onto the bench between me and him. Push me on the swing, she demands, all business, eyes on him. He looks startled, then stands so fast his knee knocks the bench. Yeah, of course, let's go, he says, suddenly lit up in a way I remember. I follow them, staying close enough to hear every word. He pushes the swing gently, asking about her favorite animals and cartoons. She answers in bursts, then throws in questions of her own. Do you have kids? She asks him suddenly, and the swing slows. He stumbles over the answer, glancing toward me as if I will feed lines. No, he says, just you, you're my only one. The words hang there between the chains and the ground. My daughter looks back at me, eyes wide, trying to process that. Lauren watches from the bench, expression complicated, fingers twisting around her ring. Later, I will remember that grip more than anything she said. Right then, I just note it and tuck it away for future reference. My instincts are screaming that this is not just about some sweet reunion. After an hour, my daughter starts rubbing her eyes and asking about snacks. I use that as my exit ramp before things get looser. We should head home, I announce, collecting her shoes and the puzzle box. He looks panicked, like the time is slipping through his hands already. Can we do this again next week? He asks, too eager, voice pushing. Lauren adds quickly, we don't want to disrupt her routine, but a plan would help. The word plan sends a chill down my spine, I cannot quite explain. Suddenly this feels less like a visit and more like a negotiation. I'll text you, I reply, stepping back, not agreeing to anything firm. I need time to see how she handles this first. He opens his mouth to argue and then shuts it, reading my face. Lauren just murmurs that they understand, though disappointment flashes across her eyes. We walk away with my daughter swinging our joined hands. Can he come to my birthday? She asks, looking up at me. My throat tightens and I swallow hard before I answer. We'll see how things go, I say, hating that vague line but needing it. That night, after she crashes on the couch mid-cartoon, my phone buzzes. First a long message from his mother, gushing about photos they received. Then a shorter one from him, words packed too neatly to feel spontaneous. Today meant a lot, we should formalize a schedule, it's better for everyone. Formalize hits me like a cold bucket of water. I stare at the screen while the room hums quietly around us. Suddenly, I can see exactly where this tidy language is heading. I do not know the court jargon yet, but I can feel it moving toward us. The envelope hits my chest before I even register the uniform. Are you Hannah Carter? The man checks a clipboard without looking up. My daughter squeezes past my leg holding a toy dinosaur and stares. Yes, my voice comes out flat, that single word signs for impact. He sets the stack in my hand and steps back like I might explode. You're served, 2 words, then he turns and walks toward the stairs. My kid watches him go. Is he bringing pizza? She asks, hopeful. Not today, I answer, fingers digging into the thick legal packet. I drop the papers on the table and skim the first page. My full name, his full name, our child's name in heavy bold type. Petition for joint custody and modification of support, the heading reads. My knees give out and I end up in the nearest chair. He wants shared decision-making and overnights, plus less money each month. Less money that already barely covers groceries, let alone anything fun. He argues we have an informal arrangement not matching his income. Apparently, abandonment now comes with bullet points and polite legal phrasing. My daughter climbs into my lap and presses her cheek to my arm. "Why are you reading so fast?" she asks, noticing my hands shaking. "Grown-up homework," I answer because I cannot explain summons yet. She nods, satisfied for now, and starts making the dinosaur roar quietly. As soon as she drifts toward her crayons, I grab my phone. I dial his number without giving myself space to cool down. He answers on the third ring like he expected this call. "You got it," he says, not even pretending confusion. "You dragged us into court," I snap, pacing between the chairs. "You had my address, my number, you could have talked first." "This is talking," he replies, voice too calm like this is reasonable. "My attorney said formal structure is best for everyone long term." There it is again, that tidy phrase, best for everyone. "Your attorney didn't watch me give birth without you," I remind him. "He didn't feed a newborn alone while you played Ghost online." Silence, then a soft exhale on his E. ND like he is bored. "I know you're emotional," he says, tone drifting toward patronizing. "But we can't keep doing this on your terms only, it's not sustainable." My chest burns so much I actually laugh, sharp and humorless. "Doing what?" I ask. "You breeze in sometimes and still skip birthdays." He raises his volume a notch. "I have rights as her father." That piece of paper finally acknowledges that, which is overdue. Every word makes my grip tighten around the phone until it hurts. "I'm not fighting you," he claims, "I'm trying to protect my relationship." The word protect coming from him almost makes me drop the call. "I'll see you in front of a judge then," I say, voice steady. "Bring every story you have, I'm bringing every screenshot." I hang up before he can toss another rehearsed line my direction. That night I sit on the floor with documents spread around me. Custody petition, financial statements, proposed schedule that guts our routine. Every page treats my life like a calendar, neat boxes to rearrange. I circle phrases that make me feel erased, just to keep from crying. He describes me as resistant to co-parenting and unwilling to compromise. He writes that I restricted access without valid justification, causing alienation. Reading those lines makes my stomach twist so hard I feel nauseous. I remember asking for one phone call, one diaper change, anything. I start printing messages from the very beginning of her life. My side full of updates, photos, invitations he never acknowledged once. His side empty for months, then tiny bursts when convenient, then quiet again. The pattern looks worse on paper than it ever did in my head. Next I screen grab his social posts from the week of her delivery. Smiling at bars, rooftop selfies, road trip shots with friends and strangers. Captions about freedom and big changes, and chasing dreams in other states. It feels grim, building a folder of proof that he chose everything but us. The legal aid office smells like burnt coffee and old paper when I go. A woman with deep lines around her eyes sits across from me. She reads the petition while I twist a tissue into tiny pieces. "Short version," she says finally, "he wants more time and less money." She taps the paragraph about alienation with chipped nail polish. "He's framing you as the barrier," she continues, voice matter of fact. "If the judge buys this, they might give him more than you expect." I swallow air and it feels heavy, like I am trying to breathe rocks. "I let his family visit," I insist, leaning forward on the cheap chair. "I brought her to the diner, the park, sent pictures all the time." She nods slowly. "Intent matters, but so does what you can prove." That last part chills me more than anything in his petition. "Start a timeline," she instructs, sliding a notepad across the table. "First call, first message, every meeting, every cancellation, log everything." It sounds obsessive, but this is how you survive systems like this. I start writing dates and events until my hand cramps and my wrist throbs. The first court date arrives on a gray morning that feels unfinished. I drop my daughter at a neighbor's place with snacks and cartoons. She asks why I am dressed nice and if we are going somewhere special. "Grown-up meeting," I tell her, kissing her forehead longer than usual. Outside the courtroom, he stands near the wall with Lauren and his mother. He is in a crisp shirt, hair styled, looking like a brochure father. Lauren holds a folder and whispers something in his ear, then spots me. His mother clutches a framed photo of my child, like a prop. My attorney meets me halfway down the hall with a firm nod. "No talking to them out here," she murmurs, steering me to a bench. "They have counsel, you have counsel, let the lawyers handle conversation." Still, I can feel his mother's stare drilling into the back of my neck. A clerk pops the door open and calls both our names clear and loud. My legs go oddly light as we file into the courtroom together. He takes the table on the right with his attorney and support squad. I sit to the left, hands folded so tightly my knuckles ache. When the judge enters, everyone rises, then sits as instructed. His attorney starts, voice smooth, paperwork arranged in tidy stacks. He calls my ex a dedicated father seeking involvement after past miscommunication. He describes me as controlling and inflexible, phrases sliding out like oil. According to their version, I shut the door on every attempt he made. They claim I refused phone calls, returned gifts, blocked his efforts at contact. They highlight that I never put his name on the birth certificate. Each fact is twisted just enough to sound plausible if you were not there. I feel heat rise up my neck, but I stay seated, nails in my palm. My attorney writes notes and underlines certain lines, waiting for our turn. The judge glances at me occasionally. Face unreadable, eyes moving constantly. I wonder what kind of mothers they heard today, how many stories blurred. Then it is my turn on the stand, and my heart thunders everywhere. I raise my hand, swear to tell the truth in a voice too quiet. My attorney asks simple questions at first, guiding me through straight facts. Pregnancy, labor, first months, his absence, his return, nothing extra. When she asks about contact attempts, I feel my chest tighten again. "I messaged regularly after our daughter was born," I explain slowly. "I sent pictures, updates, invitations, and rarely received any response." Their attorney jumps in. "Do you have documentation of these alleged attempts?" That word alleged lights something stubborn inside me that will not fold. "Yes," I answer, meeting his eyes. "I brought records for every month." My attorney hands the binder to the clerk, pages already indexed carefully. The judge flips through with quick practiced movements, pausing at certain dates. On one page, the screenshots show a long line of blue bubbles. Birth announcement, first smile, first cold, first attempt at solid food. Underneath, nothing from him, but months later, a casual "what's up." Seeing it that way makes even me feel sick, and I lived it. His attorney clears his throat and tries to spin. My client acknowledges a period of adjustment during which he struggled. He indicates the mother discouraged involvement verbally, which cannot appear in screenshots. He directs a faint smile toward the bench, like this is a reasonable point. Then my attorney pulls out the page I have dreaded and wanted. It is a printout from his public account on the night of my labor. Photo of him at a crowded bar, caption bragging about freedom and change. The timestamp sits just hours after I signed hospital forms alone. She hands that page up without commentary, letting the image speak loudly. I watch his expression falter for the first time since we walked in. Lauren stares straight ahead, jaw clamped so tight her cheek twitches. His mother presses her lips together and stares at the floor. Next, my attorney introduces a series of messages pulled from his group chat. He looks shocked at that, which tells me he never cleaned anything. "Got a girl pregnant trying to figure out how to avoid payments," one line reads. Another message, months later: "If I get shared custody, I pay way less." The judge raises their eyebrows at that, just a fraction, but I see it. "Can you confirm these are your statements?" they ask, eyes on him. He hesitates, throat working, then nods once like it hurts physically. "They were jokes," he mutters, clearly wishing he could swallow them back. My attorney does not soften. "Jokes about avoiding financial responsibility for your child." Silence stretches until you can almost hear everyone breathe separately. He shifts in his seat, hands clasped so tightly his knuckles turn pale. "Back then I was scared," he says, aiming for the vulnerable angle again. Sitting there, I realize this is the actual reason we are here. Not healing, not some sudden burst of parental devotion, not pure love. This is logistics and numbers and pressure from his shiny new life. If he wins more time, he can trim the obligation that bothers him. My attorney closes our side by focusing on our daughter, not my anger. Stable routine, consistent caregiver, school starting soon, predictable environment. She points out that he joined her life only after legal threats appeared. She asks the court to prioritize continuity over his late-stage regrets. When we step out into the hallway again, my legs feel rubbery. His mother rushes over like we are on a commercial break, eyes wet. "You didn't have to bring those messages," she whispers, voice trembling. "Yes," I answer, "I did because you built this on lies." Lauren stands a few feet back, one hand over her mouth, the ring visible. She watches him pace, phone pressed to his ear, already spinning a new story. For the first time I notice she is not touching him, not even lightly. Something in her expression tells me she just heard the truth with everyone else. My attorney touches my shoulder and nods toward the elevator. "They'll issue a decision soon," she says, tone cautious but not bleak. "Whatever happens, you showed a clear pattern that matters a lot." I breathe out slowly, feeling both drained and strangely anchored. I pick up my daughter an hour later, and she runs straight at me. "Did you win?" she asks, because kids always boil it down. "We're still waiting," I say, lifting her up, heart pounding again. Inside, though, for the first time in years, I feel like I am not the one on trial. The judge clears their throat and my leg stops bouncing mid-shake. "Petition for joint legal and physical custody is denied." The words land in the middle of the room like something heavy. I grip the edge of the table so I do not stand up and scream. Existing support obligations remain in place. The judge keeps going, voice steady. Mother retains sole legal custody and primary physical care of the child. My ears buzz, but I catch every syllable, greedy to hear it twice. Across the aisle, his attorney's pen finally goes still. The judge looks over their glasses straight at him. "You created a record that undercuts your own request," they say. "Your messages about avoiding responsibility are deeply concerning." He stares at the tabletop, jaw tight, cheeks blotchy with contained rage. They turn to me next, and my heart jumps into my throat. "Ms. Carter," they say, "this does not give you license to exclude him entirely. You are expected to foster appropriate contact, as long as it remains safe." I nod once because anything more will crack my face open. "Supervised visits may be arranged through the family center," the judge continues. "Any change to this arrangement must come through this court, not unilateral decisions." The gavel hits and the sound snaps everyone into motion. Chairs scrape, folders close, my hand finds my attorney's arm automatically. "Breathe," she murmurs, leaning close enough that only I hear. "You did what you could, the order is solid." My throat feels raw even though I have barely spoken. I manage one sharp exhale and force my knees to unlock. We step into the hallway and the air feels too thin. He is already there, pacing in short lines, tie shoved to one side. His mother sits on a bench clutching that framed photo to her chest. Lauren stands a few feet away, arms folded, eyes locked on him. He spots me and closes the distance faster than I expect. "Are you happy now?" he throws at me, voice low but shaking. "You dragged my name through the mud in front of everyone." He hits his own chest with a fist like he is the injured one here. "You dragged us here," I answer, keeping my hands at my sides. You lied on paper, you wrote those messages." He laughs once, harsh, like he cannot believe I am not apologizing. "You really want our kid growing up thinking I'm trash?" "Our daughter will grow up knowing what you actually did," I say. "Not the cleaned-up version, not the one where you were almost there." His face tightens and he takes a step closer, then stops himself. My attorney shifts forward just enough for him to notice the line. "I made mistakes," he insists, fingers digging into his hair. "I was young, I freaked out, I tried to fix it later." He gestures toward the courtroom doors like that explains everything. "You just made sure I'll never get a fair chance with her." "You had a chance the day she was born," I remind him quietly. "And every day after that, when you ignored my messages." For a second his expression flickers and his shoulders sag. Then pride jerks him upright again and the anger returns. His mother hurries over, heels clicking, eyes wet, mouth already moving. "This could have gone differently," she says, voice wobbling. "We offered to help, we opened our home, you shut us out." She trims years of chaos down to that clean accusation. I look at the photo in her hands, my kid frozen mid-laugh. You visited when it suited you, I answer, pulse drumming in my ears. You pushed for sleepovers before she even knew his voice. Her mouth snaps shut, then opens again, searching for a softer angle. She needs a father, she pleads, reaching for my sleeve. She will resent you when she learns you fought this hard. That line hits something old and sore inside me, I won't lie. I picture my kid at 16 reading court records, reading screenshots. I'm willing to let him send letters, I say, forcing the words out. He can write, he can video record messages, he can show effort. I shift my bag higher on my shoulder, ready to walk away. But there will be no unsupervised visits until she asks for them herself. He scoffs, rubbing his face like he is exhausted by my standards. So I get to be some pen pal while you play hero every day. It's better than nothing, Lauren cuts in quietly from behind him. Her voice slices through his spiral and he swings toward her, stunned. She steps closer but does not touch his arm this time. She's offering you contact you actually have to work for, she says. That judge read your words out loud, you heard them yourself. Her fingers toy with her ring, twisting it around and around. He stares at her like she switched sides in the middle of a game. So you're with her now, he asks, pointing at me. She just humiliated me, and you're backing her up. Hurt edges into his tone, mixed with something bruised and childish. Lauren does not flinch. You humiliated yourself, she answers, voice steady. You joked about dodging support payments to your friends. Her gaze flicks to me. I didn't know about those messages, she adds. I believe her, which annoys me almost as much as everything else. I'll appeal, he mutters suddenly, seizing on a new route. I'll find another attorney, we'll file again, this isn't over. My stomach knots, but I keep my face as blank as I can manage. My lawyer answers before I can. You're free to seek modification in the future, she says calmly. The court will expect a significant documented change in circumstances. She tilts her head slightly. I would advise counseling and consistency first. He glares at her like she just spat in his coffee. Whatever, he snaps, waving us off like we are noise. He storms toward the elevators, his mother hurrying after him. Lauren lingers a heartbeat longer, eyes on the photo in her bag. Then she follows, shoulders tight, leaving me in the echo of their footsteps. Outside, the air feels different, lighter and sharp against my face. I sit on the top step and call my neighbor with shaking fingers. We're done, I say when she picks up, voice sounding far away. I'm on my way to get hers. My daughter is waiting near the window, with marker stains on her hands. As soon as she sees me, she bolts forward and latches onto my waist. Did the grown-up meeting finish? She asks, looking up at me. Her eyes search my face like she is checking for cracks. Yeah, I answer, scooping her up so her legs wrap around me. We got some important papers, and I told the truth. That last part matters more to me than the actual ruling. She studies me for a second longer, then grins. Did you win? She asks again because kids love clear answers. In a way that keeps you safe, yes, I say. She seems satisfied and leans her head on my shoulder. I knew it, she whispers, and something in my chest loosens. Back home, she spreads her dinosaur toys across the living room floor. I change into old sweats and set my bag on the table. The court order sticks out from the top, black print, stark and official. I stare at it like it might jump up and argue back. My phone buzzes and I already know who it is. A long message from him appears, words packed close together. I'm not the monster you painted in there, I love her, I'm not giving up. Another line follows, I'll send letters if that's what you want. I sit down and type slower than I ever have in my life. You can mail letters, I write, keeping it as plain as possible. No more surprise visits, no more legal threats without talking first. I'll share age-appropriate parts with her when she's ready. I add one more sentence after a long pause. If you want a relationship with her, you need to build one she can trust. My thumb hovers over send for a full 10 seconds. Then I tap it and set the phone face down. Mom, my daughter calls from the floor, look at this herd. She has lined all the dinosaurs up in crooked rows. This one is the boss and these are the helpers, she explains proudly. Her tiny hand pats the biggest one like she is blessing it. Which one am I ask, stretching out beside her on the rug. She points to the sturdy one near the front, not the biggest. This one, she says, because it always stays and watches everybody. The answer hits harder than anything the judge said all day. Later, while she sleeps sprawled sideways across her bed, I clean up. I gather stray crayons, tuck stuffed animals by her pillow close drawers. In the back of my dresser, I find that old embroidered blanket. His last name stitched across it, the same one on all the court forms. For a minute I stand there, blanket in my hands, brain split in two. Part of me wants to trash it, to erase his claim completely. Another part knows she might want every scrap one day. I fold it smaller and place it in a box marked for later. I don't label the box with his name, just with hers. Because that is what this all comes back to every time. Not his story, not even mine, but what she will grow up understanding. Who stayed, who left, who tried to rewrite the script when it was convenient. One day she will be old enough to read everything. The messages, the orders, maybe even this confession if she wants it. She will ask why I let letters in but not overnights for so long. She might think I was too hard on him or not hard enough. When that day comes, I want to be able to look her in the eye. I want to say I did not block the door, but I guarded it. I let him knock, I let his words reach her in controlled doses. I refused to hand her over to someone who once walked away mid-storm. That night, as I lie in the dark listening to her soft, uneven breathing, my phone buzzes again. A short message this time: thank you for not cutting me out completely. No emojis, no excuses, just that one line blinking on the screen. I power the phone off and slide it onto the dresser. In the quiet, I whisper something I wish someone had told me earlier. We're not a broken family, I say into the dark. We are a smaller one and we're still enough. My daughter shifts in her sleep and reaches toward my side of the bed, fingers finding my arm.